Phroneo podcast for September 25th, October 8th. One saint to unite them all. Today, the Church celebrates the blessed repose in the Lord of one of the greatest saints of medieval Rus, Saint Sergius of Radonezh. Saint Sergius was born in the beginning of the 14th century in Rostov, an old Viking trade town. At some point in the 1330s, Sergius's parents moved their family to Radonezh, a small town near Moscow. Sergius's older brother became a monk, and from an early age, Sergius also dreamt of a monastic life, but he was not satisfied with the way it was conducted in Rus monasteries at that time. He yearned for seclusion, hardship, true asceticism, and a reliance solely on God's providence, rather than on an integration of a monastery into the economy of medieval cities and towns. Thus, after the death of both of his parents, Sergius visited his older brother and talked him into going deep into the forest, about 15 kilometers or 10 miles from Radonezh, and building there a small chapel in honor of the Holy Trinity, and a couple of monastic cells near it. Soon, other aspiring ascetics heard about Saint Sergius and began building their cells nearby. The life and struggles of this new community of monks, the wild beasts in the forest who were mild and meek, the reverend monks who were ambitious and haughty, the humility of Saint Sergius, the miracles worked by God at his intercessions for his flock, and the new community's lasting impact on monasticism in Russia is a wonderful and edifying story in and of itself. In time, the holy life and deep faith of Saint Sergius became well known, not only in the lands of the Rus, but also in Constantinople. The Rus Metropolitanate was still in the jurisdiction of the Patriarchate of Constantinople at that time. Princes and church hierarchs came to visit Saint Sergius and to seek his advice. For his part, Sergius began to use his influence to promote peace and reconciliation between squabbling Rus princes, and was quite effective in his role as a mediator, something very few churchmen in the lands of the Rus seem to have ever done. Some think that Sergius purposefully worked to unite the princes around Moscow. Likely this was, at least somewhat, merely incidental. Due to the Mongol invasion of Kievan Rus in the 13th century, the Metropolitan of Kiev moved to Vladimir in 1299, and then, in 1325, to Moscow. He still had the title of the Metropolitan of Kiev and all Rus, but Kiev was in decline and had been conquered by a Lithuanian army in the 1320s. In 1362, it became a part of the Grand Duchy of Lithuania. Thus, by the 1380s, when Saint Sergius was working to unite the Rus princes, Kiev no longer had a Rus prince, and the head of the Rus Church had been residing in Moscow for well over half a century. In 1380, Saint Sergius blessed Dmitri, the Prince of Moscow, to fight a battle against the Mongol army led by Mamai, a powerful Mongol commander. 2 monks were sent by Sergius to join the battle. They are traditionally known as Peresvet and Osliabia, which are pre-Christian Slavic names. Their Christian names were Alexander and Rodion, but the fact that their Slavic names are also given in the chronicles indicates that as late as the end of the 14th century, pre-Christian names were still in use, including in official chronicles written by clergy. It is said that Peresvet and Osliabia were skilled warriors and possibly military commanders. At least, this was likely the case of Osliabia, who may have been a boyar prior to becoming a monk. Peresvet was called on to be the Rus champion to fight the Mongol champion Temür Mirza in single combat before the start of the battle. It is said that the two champions killed each other in that fight. During the battle, Saint Sergius was in his monastery more than 300 kilometers or 200 miles away from the battlefield, serving a memorial service for the warriors being killed, miraculously praying for each one of them by name. The Mongols were defeated, which marked the end of the Mongol domination over the Rus principalities and the beginning of the rise of the Duchy of Moscow. According to some sources, Oslabya survived the battle and died sometime after 1398. He is buried alongside his brother-in-arms Peresvet in a monastery in Moscow. Saint Sergius died in 1392 on September 25th, which falls on October 8th on the Gregorian calendar. He was canonized by the Russian Church in the 15th century. Interestingly, he is also commemorated by the Roman Catholic Church and is listed in the Roman Martyrology under the date of September 25th, as well as by the Church of England, also on the same date. In his life, Saint Sergius tirelessly worked to unite and reconcile people who could not agree with one another, from monks arguing over who should be the abbot to princes arguing who among them is more important. In his death, Saint Sergius managed to unite Christians of different confessions who disagree about many things but can all agree in their prayer, asking Saint Sergius to intercede for us before the holy throne of God. Whether you are Orthodox, Roman Catholic, or Anglican, join us on Substack at Phroneo for more content, discussion, AMA, and much more. And don't forget to like and subscribe. And if you are so inclined, please consider becoming a paying subscriber. It is only $5 per month, which happens to be incomparably less than the average tribute one had to pay to the Golden Horde.